All right. Welcome, everybody, to our Eco-Friendly Rotary Club meeting. Appreciate you being here. And if you're watching this recording after the fact, sorry you couldn't make it to the live, but enjoy the show. We'll go ahead and start with our bell. Here we go. Oh, let's see if I click the button. Here we go.
There we go.
Yes.
All right. I love it. All right. If you're a Rotarian, go ahead and unmute your mic and you can follow along with us. The four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair
to all concerned?
Will it
Will
and
be
beneficial to all
concerned?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Next time we could try a different language, maybe Mandarin. I was just talking to my club over there, get them to join in. Just kidding. So visitors and guests, we do have a special guest, which is our speaker. But other than that, are there any other guests or visitors hiding behind the cameras? No, didn't think so. All right. Announcements. Anything for the good of the club? I'll start us off here. We are a 501c3. Don't get alarmed if you don't know what that tax category is. It's a 501c3, just a typo. We are officially a nonprofit according to the IRS and the federal government and the state of Florida, which is, far less prestigious. There you go. I like that word. But we have the bank account set up. We've got the QR for Venmo. We've got nonprofit status. We are ready to rock and roll. So now we just need some projects and some money. Do it. Any other big announcements?
Well, Sam, I would like to just say that is, I'm just not sure if people realize how big a deal it is to get a 501c3 completed. It's laborious, it's arduous, it takes a long time, and you did it. And my God, I want everybody to give you a big round of applause, please. Really, that's just amazing. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. You wouldn't believe how hard it is to get a 503c3.
That's a lot more difficult.
That really confuses them, doesn't it? When you ask,
we're the only club that has that. That's how hard it is to get.
Yeah. So watching this recording, we are not 503c3. 503c3. We are 501c3. All right.
Yeah.
Something fun that we do, and we have been doing, if you haven't been on lately, is we're dedicating time to every one of our meetings, because we're the Eco-Friendly Rotary Club, to talk about the last week or the upcoming week, if you choose to. What did you do to fix the planet? Go ahead. I see your hand, Denise.
I virtually planted a tree in Treacly.
Can we talk about that for a second?
It's in the mangrove in Madagascar. So I'm happy about that.
What is this Treacly stuff? Can you tell us about that, Denise?
Yeah, Treacly is an app that Jula notified us to in the last meeting. It's an app in which you can how do you say it? Catalog, or it gets saved how many steps you walk. You can actually put your Fitbit connected to it. You can connect your Fitbit or your Apple Watch or any other device that you use that tracks your steps. And normally it's for every 5,000 steps that you walk in 20 days out of 30 days, they will plant a tree in your name. And you can upgrade. If you upgrade it, you have like a free trial for 14 days. And then in that case, for every 5 days you walk 5,000 steps out of 7 days, they'll plant a tree for you. So that's the upgraded version. But if you don't want to do it, you don't have to give them any of your payment details. You can just log on, create an account, and then it's just for every 20 days of 5,000 steps, they'll plant a tree. So I created a nice group, the Eco-Friendly Rotary group, and we put the code for that group in our newsletter. So you can if you want to, you can just download the app, go towards that group, and you can join us, and we can start a nice, happy little Eco-Friendly Rotary family and plant trees.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've tried to download it and I created an account and it's not letting me in. And I try to create a new account and it says you already have an account. And then when I try to log in with my account, it tells me I can't log in. And so I'm sort of stuck in no man's land right now, but don't worry. And when I put that in the newsletter, I was like, oh crap, this isn't going to work. And I'm going to have to help 100 people do this or 20
Yeah,
people.
me.
There already plenty of people are on there. So I saw it just before I logged on. I was very impressed. So I'm happy with that. Because I want to make that a big goal for next year as well.
I'm reinstalling it and hoping that that's.
I think it's wonderful. For me, I'd struggle to, but it's really good for me to walk as much as possible. So I signed up. I haven't used the group code yet, but it worked great. And you're right, Denise, I just connected it to my Fitbit, which is the only thing that is allowed to yell at me about, walking enough. But so I did make 3,500 yesterday. I'm still working to get to the 5,000, but it's a great incentive, It's mental part of it,
Yes, it is. And I was really happy when that first tree was planted. It gave me such an energy boost.
That's like I get leaves from my Nest thermostat for free, and it's same thing. It makes a contribution to a clean energy organization.
So Denise, I assume that would work with a Samsung smartwatch.
Yes, definitely. I think you can connect any smartwatch, I think, or any watch that keeps track of your steps.
Yeah, it's telling me it's not letting me sign in, and I deleted the app and tried to reloaded it just now. I'll try it again later. So that's cool though.
I'm
definitely doing
it. Yeah, I installed it last night, but I don't wear smartwatches, and
you can do it on your phone as well. I think there are some phones that have step trackers.
Yeah, mine doesn't. I selected the option to track via phone, but I just looked and it still says 0 steps.
Unfortunate.
I don't think flip phones work well with this.
Dave Andrews, you're not going to be included in this.
All right. Anybody else have something you want to share about how you fixed the planet last week or this week coming?
I always use reusable bags when I go to the grocery store, always. And in fact, one time not long ago, I forgot them because I had taken them out of my car for some reason. And I was so embarrassed. I felt like I needed to buy more, but I already have like 20. So if any of you who live locally need them, I have plenty to give to you because I can't possibly use them all. And the sad thing is I have so many reusable wine bags. It's really quite embarrassing.
And Kimberly, I saw your hand, and then Michael's.
Yes, I bought a bunch of silicone container lids that stretch that fit, so that I don't have to use cling film or aluminum foil or paper or anything else. You put it on your thing and then wash it off and use it again. So that was my small contribution. I could have bought a dozen trees in Australia. I walked so much, but I didn't have the app. Do they give you retroactive credit?
No, unfortunately, I thought the same thing. Thanks for sharing, Kimberly. That reminds me of Jen's. Was it the beeswax covers that were great, biodegradable, reusable?
Yeah, I use mine all the time.
Yeah, Michael, you had something to share?
Yes. When living in Florida for 44 years, the biggest distributor of plastic bags that I can remember was Walmart. Here, there are no bags at Walmart. You have to bring your own bag. And it's or a paper bag. And the same with our grocery chain, Safeway. You get charged about anywhere from 8 to 15 cents for using a bag. And I guess they only give you a paper bag if you pay for that. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, once you do it, people get used to it. It's amazing. It really is. But
it's the standard in the Netherlands, really. You can, buy a bag at the store if you need, to transport your groceries and you didn't bring a bag, but you have to pay for it, of course. But it's actually everybody brings their own bags. It's standard.
Yeah, the state of Maryland's done that for a long time, or at least Montgomery County, where I live. It was hysterical. Some years back when they first put it in place, you would see people, wealthy people juggling 17 things in their arms rather than pay 5 cents for a plastic bag. It was hysterical.
Good.
That's funny. All right, well, let's roll right into let's do birthdays and anniversaries. And while I'm looking for hands for birthdays and anniversaries, if you need the code for your Venmo, you can scan that right there if that's convenient for you. So birthdays and anniversaries. Go ahead, Susie.
My birthday was yesterday. Yay.
Hey.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. It was a good day. It was a better weekend. The day was
Happy
kind of boring yesterday.
birthday.
Having a birthday on a Monday kind of stinks, but we did do quite a bit of socializing.
My birthday is on a Monday this year too.
Oh, yours is next week, isn't it?
No, it's the 7th of August.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, I have something in my calendar said Denise's birthday, but I don't know who that is because I thought it was you. So I don't know what Denise I'm talking about. It could be my office manager, somebody she knows, because we share a calendar sometimes.
Susie, was there a 5 in your birthday?
No.
Mike,
No comments. Just kidding.
Yes, 45. Yes. So
Uh,
there we go. No.
Good. Well, happy birthday. My little boy, I think I already did it last week. I did my happy bucks or whatever back then, but my little boy, we took him to Disney on Friday, or Friday of his birthday, which was just passed. So we were super excited. And that's why I would have had 1 million steps, but alas, didn't have the app. Any
Wow.
other birthdays or anniversaries? Good. All right. How about sad bucks? Ailish?
yes, I just want to apologize on behalf of my daughter that she can't be here today. She changed job, didn't change company, changed job. She has to be in the office now almost every day, and she has to leave her cell phone in the car. So she can't join us. But she's hoping to stay in the club and she'll pay her dues. But just for the moment, they expect her in almost every day. Whereas when she used to work from home, she could come every week and all that.
Well, we please tell her that we miss her. And if you're watching this, we miss you. Please keep watching us on YouTube.
Well, she's coming down. She's coming down next Thursday because it's my birthday next Friday, and so she's coming down until Sunday. So that should be nice.
Wow, awesome! That sounds great. Sounds like a social opportunity, but I'm not going to press.
Yeah,
There'll be. So we were counting up all the Gemini women that I know that are good friends of mine, and there's 6 of us. So we'll probably have a big birthday party that Saturday, the 17th, for Ailish and me and Grace and Brenda, and I can't remember who else, but there's a bunch of us. So. Well,
I have to go to Wyoming. My birthday is the 15th, so.
Oh, are you Gemini too? All right.
Yeah.
We're all schizophrenics.
No, we're not. Someone I know used to call us. They used to say, "Oh, it's the Twisted Sisters." Yeah.
All right. How about happy bucks? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Joan and I are just about ready to head out to Canada this morning. We have to leave the meeting early. We have to drive all of 62 miles to get to the ferry that takes us to Victoria. So it was really cool. And I'm also happy to say that thanks to Kathleen, I was able to discover how to make a deposit at a Chase Bank. Did it show up, Kathleen?
You're on mute.
I'm sure.
You're still on mute. Oh, there you go.
I was trying to unmute. It was jumping around. It did show up. And thank you, because I decided I needed some personal items, so I used it for that. I'm so kidding.
And lastly,
So kidding.
it's not a happy dollar, but I would recommend to anyone go to Normandy, and this is D-Day, and check out those wonderful cemeteries. We've visited the British and German cemeteries. When we were there, a certain politician was able to shut down our government, and we couldn't get into the 2 U.S. cemeteries with 23,000 graves because of a politician shutting down the government.
I was there, Michael. It was awesome.
It's remarkable.
Yeah, I've been there too. They were wonderful.
I'll second that. And it's a far, far, far second to the experience that you've had, Mike, and others. But if you get a chance and you're in New Orleans, go to the D-Day Museum. It's spectacular. The D-Day Museum in New Orleans is so good.
Well, along that theme, then I'd also recommend Flight 93, just southeast of Pittsburgh at Shanksville. It's a really moving place. People have said, well, why would you go there? Well, why would you go to Normandy? Because it celebrates what these people gave for our country.
Mhm.
Kimberly, you had a
And other countries.
agreed. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, happy bucks that I got a chance to visit one of the most beautiful places on the planet, Tasmania, and meet some wonderful people. I'm looking forward to being a speaker whenever you need one and talking about how eco-friendly the whole island of Tasmania is. And then up to Melbourne to go to the convention, which was much smaller this year than in previous years, primarily because Australia is so bloody far away, but also still the knock-on effects from COVID, people not as willing to travel. And it was really it was a great convention, and I got a lot out of it. I talked to a lot of the eco booths and forwarded some information to Susie and to Denise about people who are willing to be speakers and talk about what they do. So hopefully you'll get to meet some of those wonderful people too.
Awesome. Look forward to hearing those. All right. Well, with that, if it's okay, I'll just talk real slow and ask if maybe someone would like to do an introduction.
I would, except I have no idea about Emma's history because I
I didn't
forgot to
put you on the
ask
spot.
even Zachary for a bio, and because I was the one scheduling everyone. So I don't even have a bio about Zachary, who's not here, who got really sick at the last minute and asked Emma to substitute. So Emma, if you would just please do a brief introduction of yourself. Welcome to the group. And do you have slides you need to show?
I do have slides to show, and I do not mind kicking it off in such a mysterious way. I can do my own bio. Let's see, can I wait to do the slides for just one second?
You can share if you like. Yeah, anytime.
Whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I know that Susie was just saying, like, my colleague Zach got very sick at the last minute, but I don't think I think it all happens for a reason. And I know, listening to your group, that I am meant to be here today, because a lot of times on Zoom meetings, there is a lack of energy and engagement. And I will say that you are like the Zoom champ. So kudos for that. My name is Emma Reynolds. I am the Community Engagement and Strategic Partnerships Officer for Brevard Zoo. In my other life, I was a biology teacher. So I taught biology for 12 years in Florida. I lived over in Lakeland, which is in Polk County, for 12 years, and taught middle school because I'm brave and a little sarcastic. And we built hydroponics labs and hopefully, inspired a love of learning and science. And I loved my students, and the work that we did together was very important to me. As young biologists, I never thought that I would come back to the world of science once I left teaching. And I've been working in philanthropy for 7 years since then. And recently, as I just came on board with Brevard Zoo in February, because I just missed it too much. I missed it too much, and the work that they were doing was so important. So I was excited to have a chance to join them in these efforts. And I cannot wait to share about the aquarium project and a little bit more about us, sharing with the group sort of what we're working on right now at the zoo. Nope, I'm not going to hide. At the zoo, and also with this new aquarium. So what I'm going to do is try to share. I'm going to hit share sound. I don't know if I need to optimize anything. And let's see if I can make this work. Can you see the PowerPoint?
It looks
Yes.
good. Looks like there's a block over the top of the page, though. Is that supposed to be there?
Yeah, it's okay.
Is it okay?
Yep.
Okay. So my light turned off in the office as well. So I'll just open and share a little bit more. You know, I really work for East Coast Zoological Society, not Brevard Zoo. Many people are familiar with Brevard Zoo, but they don't know that we actually operate under our own 501c3, not 503, but that's cool too. And we love the East Coast Zoological Society because there's this rich history. So our East Coast Zoological Society is the nonprofit that developed and managed our zoo. We're so proud to be rated in the top 10 best zoos in the nation. And it's actually this year in the 2023 USA Today Reader's Choice Awards, we were number 3. And I was so excited. We were thrilled and honored that people saw us in this light, because really we're just a hometown, homegrown zoo. So some of the other fantastic zoos in the nation are exceptional, but they are much larger and different. It's a different vibe. We've been nationally recognized for accomplishments in conservation, environmental education, and exhibit design. I didn't even know there was an eco rotary. And so I want to just like thank you. I was in awe. I took a million pictures of the screen when you all were talking about what you did this week or this coming week to save the planet and change the world. And I think you're doing that. I jumped on board with this organization because I felt like the work they were doing in conservation and education was really moving the dial here in this area. And then something that we're really proud of too is that we're economically independent from inception, which means that the membership fees and dues and things or donations are covering all sorts of animal care and the upkeep, which is actually, I didn't know until I was behind the scenes at the zoo, the upkeep is really tremendous. Making sure that our guests are safe and having a meaningful experience is really important. Oh, and I want to say on this Zoom that you can interrupt me. I know that that's not, you know, but because I can't see your faces, feel free to jump in and ask questions so that I don't move through. I know I talk really fast. I am extroverted, and so I want to say like as much as possible right here. But I'll tell you that this can be interactive, and there's also a chance at the end to ask questions. I don't want to go on and not give you a chance to talk. So one of the things that makes our zoo really special is that we're community focused and volunteer driven. So 16,000 volunteers from this area built the zoo back in 1994, coming together across all different industries and backgrounds because they cared about this, and they actually built our zoo. So we're the largest community built zoo in the world. We say that, but I don't know any other community built zoos. So it's possible that we are also the smallest, but we are definitely the best. We have 500 active adult and student volunteers working for this zoo, which I think is just tremendous. It's beautiful. Some of these volunteers are working all week long. They come out here and they get passionate and excited, and they educate our guests. And a lot of times our volunteers know more than the staff do about the happenings with the animals, which I think is so special. Our animals respond to them, and our volunteers are like family to us. We have a preschool here, and so I like to walk by. My children are a little older, 11 and 13, so they've gotten into the eye rolling stage of childhood. And my mom says it's great karma for me, but that's not very nice. But I walk by the preschool almost every day, and we have teachers, you know, board certified teachers, but also some volunteers who are getting a lot of meaning and value out of spending time with these kids, these young zoologists. And I think that's really special. And, you know, it just continues our tradition. Having this many volunteers on board who have been here for so long, it really does continue our tradition as a community-driven organization. Our mission officially is to share our joy of nature to help wildlife and people thrive. It's the joy that stands out here, if I'm honest. There is something special. I think it's why we end up with a lot of recognition and a lot of friends and partners. Because there is something beautiful and joyful, not just in the people who are here, but our staff. the people who are working. We have another campus called Restore Our Shores that I'm going to talk about in just a minute, but I think that there's joy on every wall and in every corner here at this zoo. And I think that that really manifests in happy animals. Our unofficial mission is really that we answer the call. So because we're small and community built, and because we operate under our own nonprofit organization, we skip a lot of red tape. And so what has happened in the course of Brevard Zoo is we've been able to answer the call when local wildlife is in need. So we've done tremendous work with Perdido key beach mice. That was a species that was almost completely annihilated by hurricane damage in the Panhandle. We were able to take on this special project and bring back the Perdido key beach mice species all the way so that they can continue to help build and keep the dunes. We forget sometimes, well, you probably don't because I'm listening and you definitely know your stuff for your eco-friendly Rotary. But I know that, you know, many people don't know that the beach mice are important. That's important to help us at hurricane time. It's important to help the dunes for turtles. And you know as well as I do that a balanced ecosystem is good for all of us. And so those beach mice were a really special thing that we could give back to that community when they asked. We've also helped with advocacy for diamondback terrapins who were in danger and dwindling, and there was no law to protect them, or minimal law. It was a law that wasn't a law, if you can think of those. It wasn't actually helping. And so we have lobbyists and conservation care professionals who helped sort of protect them better. And then we have sweet grasshopper sparrows that are in the back in our conservation center who are also being protected and released. I think we have 9 fledglings right now, and they'll be released, you know, soon, as soon as they're able. But it's really fun to watch these populations sort of respond to our protection, and we continue to answer the call. And then of course we have like special cases of animals, because it seems like when Florida Fish and Wildlife, or when, you know, different community organizations aren't sure what to do in certain scenarios, they're like, we'll call the zoo. And what I love about this place is that we say yes. We say yes for the animals every time. And then we figure out how to make that happen. So examples, Brody is up in the upper right-hand corner. That's a bear, baby bear who was abandoned by his mother. He needed a tremendous amount of care. And later we discovered he had some hip dysplasia, some respiratory issues, and in the wild, he may not have survived. But right now he is almost 400 pounds and wrestling around in a giant pool in his habitat with his friend Betty, who is below that picture. Betty was actually hand raised and bottle fed, but in a very careful way, because we hoped to release her. But when it came time to release, they drove her back up where they found her up in Ocala National Forest, and with the help of the rangers there and several organizations, they released Betty and came all the way back home. And we got a phone call about 2 days later that said, you need to come and get her. Betty is teaching the other bears bad habits. And so we had to go and get Betty back. She was just too friendly. She was just a little too comfortable with people. And so Betty is back there with Brody wrestling in the pool right now as we are on this call. We also have friends like Mateo and Jay, who are the 2 spider monkeys. These were both cases of these monkeys. They were being smuggled in over the border in Texas. Mateo was being hidden in the console, like the center console of a pickup truck when they came across. A lot of times illegal wildlife trading yields a big profit, and people are willing to take the risk, but that is not where they belong. They're not safe and they're not healthy in that environment. But our spider monkeys are the happiest, craziest family of spider monkeys I've ever seen. They have tunnels above. We know that primates need a lot of decision-making opportunities. We know that they are intelligent. and dynamic. And so we give all of our animals as much enrichment as possible. But Mateo and Jay are both living incredible lives. Something unique about Mateo is that when he was confiscated in 2020 at the border, they didn't know what to do, and they called us and we said yes without knowing how exactly it was safe to transport a spider monkey across several states during a global pandemic. But we have friends. We have such great community collaboration that there was a private jet flown by some of our friends at Florida Tech, and they went and got him for us. And brought him back here to his forever home. And so we're so grateful for these opportunities to answer the call. And sometimes we need to ask for some help from our friends. We have been asked, because of our work with Brody and Betty and some of our other black bears, we've been asked to gain certification as a black bear care center for rehabilitation, and we're continuing to build back there. That's a different part of the zoo that people don't see as guests, but we do have bears that are brought to us, and our exclusive priority is to get them healthy enough and to re-release back where we found them. We answer the call as well for our shores. I'm sure that many of you are familiar with the importance of clean water. We have trained more than 1,500 oyster gardeners, all the little, I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but there are little green dots on that map right there. Each one represents a residence or a business who has said yes and helped us answer the call to build oyster gardeners and clam gardeners. We have these boxes and pads that they can build and hang in their water. Many of you know, but oysters clean between 20 and 40 gallons of water each day. So they can clean the water in a beautiful way. And we have had a lot of people really interested in helping us in this way. We are also planting mangroves and seagrass. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about manatees next, but we're really proud of our Restore Our Shores, and that's almost exclusively volunteer-based as well. So there are 6 staff members on our Restore Our Shores team. Everyone else is a volunteer. So the community continues to rally around with us. And then we have a manatee care center that's going up here at Brevard Zoo. Many of you may have seen in the news or experienced the tragedy in 2021 where we lost thousands. I mean, so many manatees were starving. There was an actual crisis. We made national news for this. They had run out of seagrass nurseries, seagrass in the waterways, and were starving. And we did help with a temporary solution in feeding them, working with some of our community partners, but realized that there needs to be more. Some of these manatees were injured. And what we found out is that if the manatees are found and they're injured and SeaWorld can't take them, our manatees have to be taken up to Ohio, which is just unacceptable. Like, we live right here on the water. We have the professionals who can do this, who can get the certifications. We have the donors who have said yes. And so we've taken on a manatee critical care center that will be built here on campus that will supplement and run in tandem with our new aquarium. And so we answer the call, consistently for animals here at Brevard Zoo. The zoo is sort of the aquarium's proof of concept. And so once we realized that the population was growing as quickly as it is, and people are moving into the area at a rate that is, tough to sustain with schools, it's tough to sustain with residential areas, and it's tough to sustain this population growth from an ecological standpoint as well, especially because many of the people moving into town are not necessarily educated on responsible living with wildlife. We know that the days have gone away when we can just section off a piece of land or water and say, don't go here, and then the ecosystem will balance itself. That's not going to happen. And so we've taken on this incredible campaign to build a world-class aquarium at Port Canaveral. Do you want me to stop or keep going? Should I take questions?
I think keep going, but I did have one question. If you could go back
Yes.
2 slides to the oysters, I think it went 2 to the oysters. I just wonder what's in that picture on the very left that those kids are holding. Are those the oyster bags or what is that?
Those are the beginnings of oyster beds. We know that they need other oysters to lay their young on, and we were building beds one on top of another so that the oysters would start to reproduce and lay their young there. And the kids, we were able to engage a lot of children that way because it's so easy.
Yeah,
it's so easy to build. So that's what they're doing. Those are the beginnings of those oyster beds. I think now they've developed into boxes right now. So look at your comments. 3 years teaching 6 to 8 sciences. We need like a separate club for this. Well, you guys are like a nerd herd like me.
I feel like we need like an award, actually.
I know. I got an award. Thanks for bringing it up. I was teacher of the year.
Oh, you really? Well done. Hey, Emma, just so you know, there's a box in front of your slides right now. It could be the chat box. Maybe you open that?
It is.
Yeah.
I'll hide it.
Okay. That's all right. But look at the chat. So great.
I know, right?
Mike Holliday's checking out. He said, great zoo program must hit the road. Dave Andrews, who's still on the call, he was a biologist for 9 years now. Was then at the space shuttle. So
you could have given this presentation, really.
I mean, no. We know nothing. We know nothing. But one more thing. I live in Cocoa, and there's a group called like Blue Water Project, I think, and there's 2 guys that live in my neighborhood that started it. And one of the things we've done in my neighborhood, Doc, instead of oysters, is we put in these 2 by 2 by 3 foot deep striated things that collect barnacles. And in a couple of months, you get enough barnacles that theoretically one of those, and we have 10 on my dock, one of those will filter 30,000 gallons up to probably 60,000 a day of the river water. So they're barnacles, so they're like completely no maintenance. So you don't have to do anything to them, which we found to be very good. But
you're describing our locks exhibit. So I'm going to show you the aquarium and sort of some of the plans, and we actually highlight the importance of. I mean, that's an awesome project that you guys are doing, and that's so cool. And we're doing the same. We're doing something really similar at the aquarium, and I'll show you kind of a picture of what we have in mind. But I'd love to pick your brain about that a little more, actually.
Okay, thanks. Happy to.
So we have this aquarium dream. And we have the perfect property for it. And I'll show you a better map during a video in just a minute. But we have about 14 acres of land right along the Banana River across from the port. So up here, what you're seeing is State Road 528 coming down, and to the right of this screen would be the port and exploration tower. And then across George King Boulevard, it dead ends straight into our aquarium. And we got to stand there. Last week, the team went out just to stand and sort of dream, because we've reached a milestone in our campaign. And we just wanted to feel closer to the project. And so we got to stand out there and see, right now it's rocks and, invasive pepper plants and things, but there is something beautiful happening here on that property. And I'll show you what we had in mind. Someday soon, it'll look like this.
Wow.
This is the back view, and I'll show you another one in a minute. I'll walk you through some of the exhibits in just a second. We've got shark flats right here that are intentionally built to be sort of in the shallows. The dream for this aquarium is different than what you might picture of another standard pictured aquarium where you walk into a big air conditioned space and it's a huge wall. I mean, we have an exhibit, the Locks is going to be similar to that experience, but what we are doing at the same time is trying to educate people about the place that they live. So we're going to use our native species. We're going to show them the animals that are here and sort of celebrate and teach them how to live alongside these creatures in a way that helps them thrive. Because there is actually a tremendous amount that we can do, minute changes in our daily behavior that will make life better for the stingrays. and the sharks and the manatees and sea turtles. And so you can see there's observation decks, there's event space. I'll walk you through, but this is the dream. And I'm just going to remind you that this is an artist's rendering. So I don't need any weird emails 2 years from now and be like, it doesn't look like you said, because you know how construction projects go, but this is the rendering, this is the dream, and these are still the plans. We do have shade. People ask sometimes about shade, and something neat that's going in is a swimming area in the middle. I'll show you that in a second. This is going to be the new Sea Turtle Healing Center. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the one that we already have on this campus, but we're sort of inviting our guests into the space. Sea turtles come to us in varying conditions. This would give people exposure to, you know, on the far right, there's an observation room. You can actually see our veterinary staff helping the sea turtles who are in the most critical condition when it's appropriate to show that to guests and not traumatic for children. But we think education is a big part of what helps people love where they live and love the creatures there. So we're going to invite people into that space. As the sea turtles get better and continue to heal, the guests will be able to see the turtles in the healing pools where they've been isolated while they heal, and then hopefully moving into a community tank if they cannot be re-released. We recently released our, I think we've done 201 now, but Turtle Release 200 was Hope, which I thought was really special. And that was just earlier this year. So we're really proud of our work in helping heal the sea turtles. And the aquarium will give people a chance to see them at every stage. This is our locks exhibit. What you're seeing, we're hoping to have native species in and around the locks, sort of showing them what the port locks look like underneath. Those are built intentionally with space in between, not a giant cement wall where wildlife cannot thrive. So we know that, you know, we can host a myriad of organisms, microorganisms, even all the way up, and model for them what's happening below the surface. We think that this is going to be, you know, some people's favorite. And there's a little coffee shop, and there are interactive, like little education and physics opportunities for young children to sort of close the locks and open the locks and understand how the port works, which is neat, and then highlight and remind people that that is still a home for many, many different animals. As I said, I want to remind you, this is an artist rendering. But we are building the shark flats nice and shallow, comfortable for the sharks. And I will remind you that we will not have this many sharks in that small of a space. And they will also not be so close to that cute little girl on the side. Every time I show this slide, there's like a few people who are like clutching their pearls. They're like, oh no, this is a disaster. Safety is obviously our first priority. But I love this exhibit because I did a shark unit with my students. They got so passionate that some of them actually pursued careers to help protect sharks from the finning industry, and to learn more about them. We know that, you know, some species in the wild are grossly misunderstood, and the first step towards healing and making a more healthy relationship between humans and whatever animals we misunderstand is to expose them a little bit more. I'm going to stop and check the chat because don't want them to jump. Yes. I can talk about the grasshopper sparrows as well after, because that's so fun to watch. Yeah, so we'll have shark flats, and then we're hoping when you get up around that bend, you look around and it looks like you're surrounded by water because we built a bend in it. Every time I go to the chat, I have to remember to come back here. Okay, we have an interactive stingray tank or exhibit where people will be able to walk, and we're kind of modeling it after our kangaroos. If you've ever been out to the Brevard Zoo, you'd see that we don't manage the kangaroos in that area, we manage the people. So we put them sort of within guardrails, and then the kangaroos move about as they please. We have decided since starting the studies and working on our species survival plans that it would not be wise to have a special opportunity to be hands-on while they can't get away from the people over here. So we're actually not going to be doing on the left of the screen where they can come and touch and pet right there. There's a different section for it. But people can learn the stingray shuffle. in the water. And I'll just point out that anytime there is a wet walkway, we also have a dry one for those who are not interested. It's incredibly important to us to make the entire site handicap accessible, to make sure that we are giving every single person the opportunity they deserve to enjoy this exciting project. In the middle, we have a swimming area with lifeguards and sort of mimicked after the St. John's River, giving, you know, families and kids the opportunity to come and play and cool down, which is kind of fun and exciting. That's definitely unique to our aquarium. There's also, you can see in the back, there's restaurants, many of them educating people how to focus a little bit when they're making their decisions about fishing or eating on sustainable fishing and responsible choices when it comes to the different species in this area. You can see we'll have alligators and river otters, not together, and again, wet walkways where people can get a little closer to these animals. We're building this manatee healing center. And something unique about this facility, when the manatees, this is not critical care. Typically, these are going to be manatees who are ready for rehab and hopefully close to release and just need a little extra time to practice buoyancy or eating or whatever it is that they're struggling with. The platform that you see in the foreground of this picture rises. There's a hydraulic lift under so that we can safely and more comfortably move these massive creatures while minimizing the stress that they're facing. We will have opportunities for people to be near the turtles. There is a little feeding opportunity. I mean, turtles, the manatees, there is a feeding opportunity as well. And the pool is a little larger than it's shown right here. It's just another rendering. Hopefully the manatees can move into their community tank after they have worked through some of their issues. We have a coastal conservation hub named after Dr. Dwayne DeFries. Some of you are familiar with him. He does incredible work for the Indian River Lagoon, has completely transformed many different community organizations in regards to moving from septic to sewer systems and protecting the waterways at every cost. So the conservation hub will allow for groups to come in from all the different, higher education colleges and universities or research groups to come in and have space for wet labs. It's open and free to the public. So you can actually access this building from the parking lot. You don't need to pay admission to get in here and do some research or learn more about coastal conservation. Here's one of the renderings for a wet lab. Possibility. We want help. We know that harnessing the energy of our community and research facilities means inviting them into the same space to test the same water and to work collaboratively with other organizations and hopefully inspire some of the educational groups that are coming in, because we know that young people are the future biologists and conservationists of the world. So we want them to be able to be close in proximity and in mission. So this is sort of a collaborative space for all. We do have event space. Oh, you see that rocket launching in the distance? I know, it's a dream. We do have event space that'll be open, hopefully bringing people in who maybe have not visited the aquarium yet, and they would still get opportunities to interact at the aquarium. And, it'll also help us feed the manatees tough grade lettuce. So make sure that we can feed and take care of all of these animals and their needs, make good on our promises. I'm going to try to show this video if that's okay. We have like a short video that sort of highlights all the different parts of the aquarium. But if it starts and you can't hear sound in the first 5 seconds, I want you to tell me because I can fix that. Can you hear it?
Yes.
No, you don't want to see it twice. I'm so proud of the project when I watched the video, because we've gotten to a point in the campaign where this is definitely happening. This is not a maybe if we raise enough money. We're now at the point in the campaign where it's really happening. And when I watch the video, I can see my children standing there. I can picture all of us there. I know that you already know why it matters, but I'll share maybe just a quick story that happened within the first few weeks that I started here at Brevard Zoo. We have a sea turtle healing center that's closed to the public, where sea turtles are receiving critical care. Some of them make it and some of them don't. But I took a group of donors back there, because, you know, if you engage with us closely, then you get some behind the scenes access. And we were learning about the turtles they have, and one green sea turtle in particular was interesting to me because she looked perfectly healthy. And our sea turtle care expert was telling us that she actually had hooks in her belly, and had been, you know, damaged. There was some serious internal damage that took place, multiple surgeries and efforts. They pulled plastic out of her, they pulled hooks out of her. And she has a beautiful, you know, exterior, but a sick interior, you know. And so there was something later that sort of sat with me wrong. And I think it's because I asked, you know, is there ever a point where she'll be well enough to leave, you know, like Hope, you know, like the 200th? And they said no. And so I think that, you know, the reason for this has a lot to do with, you know, this global scale of conservation and education, but it also matters for that one. And, you know, I thought about it later. This is avoidable. You know, you and I know as adults experiencing real life that not every tragedy or heartbreak, not every hardship is avoidable. Some are and some are not. This one is avoidable. And it is exclusively the lack of education and accountability and responsibility. And that's why she will always live in a tank. And we do our best. You know, we give them a beautiful space. If they're social, they get a roommate. And she has a roommate. And I just dream sometimes, like, what might it have been if she hadn't, you know, been hooked by a fishing line or swallowed plastic because we're not doing our job right. And I feel compelled. I feel like it matters because we can do better. And if the population growth in Florida rose from, you know, more than, it was almost 16% between 2010 and 2021. We have to know and accept and make a plan moving forward, accepting that people who are using the waterways don't always know. They didn't always grow up here. They don't always know what to do. And so I know that this aquarium is going to do a lot. I know that this aquarium is going to move the dial for countless species, not just the ones in the ground. We know that it's a celebration of wildlife and waterways. We know we can educate and empower more than 500,000. And that's actually one of our more conservative projections for guests on how to make a difference in waterways and wildlife and help us protect them. Funding restoration and research projects across the entire length of the Indian River Lagoon, and further integrate IRL restoration efforts. At least $1 of every admission ticket will go straight into the Indian River Lagoon National Estuary Program. We want to make sure that we're pouring right back into the waterways, literally and figuratively. We know that this will bring jobs and dollars to the region, and of course, we're going to be really proud of it. We know this is sort of an enormous center of community pride, and we've already gotten so much done. So the ideal site that I showed you was already approved. It's sectioned off. It's got that fancy little sign out front that says, "You can't live here, we do," which is great. We built a campaign cabinet to stretch across Brevard, Indian River, Orange, Volusia. I'm going out to Volusia next week to talk with some of the public relations people. If you have any groups that you think should hear this, I'd be so happy to travel all over the earth to share with big groups and small. And we're going to fundraise We do private, corporate, and public fundraising, sponsorship, naming opportunities. They can name like part of the conservation hub or one of the areas, for certain amounts. We've already raised $63 million. That's a lot of people who believe in us, who have left us in legacy wills or made founders gifts. And then we are on track and set to break ground in the fall of next year, which is what, like 15 months away. I'll show you that you can be an aquarium founder and have your name on the wall, the aquarium forever. I know that not everybody can do that. And we have an aquarium advocates program, which is like, give us $100 and you get a sticker and you get to know that you helped. But we do have a really neat founders program. I'd be so happy to talk to any of you about that. The $10,000 minimum is payable over 5 years. But you don't have to do anything in order for us to be friends. So I'll say that as well. And this is our legacy. So if you want to learn anything else about this campaign, I have the website down there. You can stalk us, and I'll put my email in the chat in case you wanted to grab a coffee or jump on Zoom or anything like that. But I think that with that, I will go ahead and stop talking and maybe take questions if you have any questions.
Emma, I had a question. Actually, I have two, and I've forgotten what the second one was already. The first one was really kind of a silly thing, but that sea turtle you were talking about, I was wondering, has such a strong drive to breed and then lay their eggs. I guess there's nothing that can be done, because even if she did breed, she would want to go back to her spot on the seacoast, wherever that might have been. So there's nothing you can do about that, is there? So
probably not for her specifically, because it's just not safe, or we don't have the facility for it.
Right. Yeah.
We can help the eggs and hatchlings, and we do, but we haven't yet been able to breed any of the sea turtles. But that's kind of a neat way to move her legacy forward. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. The other question I just remembered is, have you been scheduled to speak at any other Rotary clubs in the area? Because we have 8 or 10 in the area.
We have.
With. Okay.
Yeah, we have. We've spoken with several. I could get you a list, and maybe you see who's missing off of that list.
Right.
But our Rotary groups have been wonderful, actually.
Yeah,
and I usually get like a free breakfast. It's awesome.
Sorry, we couldn't get you any food, but
no, I got a mug from the other ones. It doesn't matter. You guys are my friends.
Well, that was excellent. Thank you. Come visit us anytime. We'd love to have you back.
Yay.
And Alice, I see your hand up.
Hi, Emma. That was extraordinary. Hi. I did put a little note to you in the chat. If you could email me, please, your short bio and photo, because we put that into the newsletter. That was extraordinary. I wanted to ask you one quick question. Do you know a young lady who works at the zoo? Her name is Alana Hebert. Hebert.
I don't know her, but I'm so new. It's probably my fault, not her.
No, you're new. It's not anyone's fault. It is.
Now I'm going to go find her.
If you happen to find her, just tell her that Ailish and Alana were send her our love. She was at high school with my daughter, and she was. I love it. And they were both Alana. So if they were in the house here with me and I would call Alana, they'd both answer.
That's cute.
That was really a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much.
Oh, good.
It was. I absolutely agree. Jen, you had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to see if Emma actually has her own YouTube channel or something, because Emma, your energy is just, you can feel it through Zoom, and you're just fun. I mean, you have this cute, I don't know, it's just, I've really enjoyed your presentation today.
Thank you for saying that. I didn't know I was presenting with you when I woke up this morning, so that means a lot.
And look at you, just like home run, like Babe Ruth did.
Teacher, no wonder you an award-winning teacher.
Teacher of the year. You need to be a Zoomer of the year. I'm going to make a certificate.
Oh my gosh, please! I love recognition. That'd be great.
I have a question. So I won't make any comment about can't afford. That's a like not a fun conversation. But about the $10,000, my question is this: are organizations also able to participate in such a project?
100%. We've got a lot of groups that have decided to pull their money together and do it in honor of someone, or just their group. I might mute.
Got it.
I think there are a lot of different organizations who have chosen, like the members felt passionate about it, and they've donated the 10,000 so that their organization name or someone in their organization could be considered a founder for the aquarium. So
what a fascinating idea! Like an organization, even a 501c3 could even do that on behalf of an organization. That's fascinating. Fascinating.
Hey, Sam, what if we did a walk to raise the money?
Oh my gosh, what a great idea.
do you do that? Oh my gosh, please do that. Our original goal was $100 million. You can see that we're at 63 unofficially, and more like 65. But yeah, that's still a long way off, and we anticipate that 100 million might go up. And so we're really trying to gain as many founders as possible. People are leaving us in their will, though. That's sort of interesting, like estate planning. You know, we've gotten a few gifts just because people, you get honored as a founder if you leave us in your legacy gift as well. And so that's been a really neat way that people are catching wind and getting excited. So that's a weird thing to talk about, but it's real. So
that's cool. That's so cool.
Really cool.
All right. Well,
anything
I
else?
don't know if there's any other questions. This has been just tremendous, and thank you so much. We are so appreciative. We're gonna save this, post this on YouTube, and hopefully we'll get lots and lots of views. We'll try to share it out on social media and share it around Rotary clubs and everything. So
and I'll try to remember to send you the newsletter, Emma, so you and Zachary can see it. So
yeah, Zach and I would love that. And I am putting my email very loud in the chat as well. And you can reach out anytime. I love new friends. So
thank you so
Come
much.
back anytime.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and close this meeting up. Everybody have a wonderful day. And like our Rotary values say, service above self. I'm so happy to see you.
And my camera stopped working, so I'm going to sign off, guys. Emma, thanks again. Please join us anytime. It's always the same link. Any Tuesday at noon. You'd be more than welcome.
Thank you so much.
What we're up to.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful.
I'm off,
Thank
everyone.
you.
I've got to head out. See you. Thanks.